Welcome again, Charles Curran, and we've been taking a few minutes to talk about some important Bible topics. And recently I shared this topic with you about Christianity's unpayable debt to the Jews. And very few Christians are aware of Christian history in that regard. And I also had shown you this copy of my newsletter, Gentle Conquest, which is free, available. You can get it either online or go to my website and have it come through postal service. But at any rate, I want to share, I have a continuation of that topic of Christianity's unpayable debt to the Jews. Number one, it's important for us Christians to realize that when God gave the promise to Abraham and spoke the blessing over him, that has never been revoked. It's still in effect over the Jewish nation, even over unbelieving Jews. Now that in a way explains the enormous prosperity that the Jewish people as a group have enjoyed. And I'm not talking about finances, but I am talking about Christianity's unpayable debt to the Jews. And in that regard, we can go all the way back to the year 325 at the first Christian council, first meeting of the Christian bishops. 1,800 bishops were invited. It was a day when the fastest mode of transportation was on the back of a camel. So less than 1,000 bishops showed up for the meeting, but Emperor Constantine also came. Now be aware, Constantine favored Christianity, but he was not a Christian. He was baptized only a few days before his death, but that is even questionable. But the point I want to make is this: year 325 at the Christian Council of Nicaea, that early Christian documents were already attacking Jewish people. And across the Roman Empire, synagogues could be burned with government protection. Christian bishops assisted in the destruction of Jewish synagogues and considered it an act, quote, well favorable to God. But I want to pick up again in the year 1099 with the first Christian crusade, when Christian soldiers, thousands of them, went to the Holy Land to recover it from the Muslims. But on the way, they attacked and destroyed countless Jewish villages. And when the, quote, so-called Christian invaders arrived in Jerusalem, they took all of the Jews, caught all of the Jews, forced them into one major synagogue, set it afire. And any Jew who tried to escape was either killed on the spot or driven back in. Now that was done in such a heretical way, horrible way. And of course, evangelicals were not involved in that. That was not our way of dealing with controversies. But the Jewish people don't know that. They see Christianity as a whole, as one unit. And unless we as evangelicals express to the Jews our grief over so-called Christian history and their own persecution and the violence that's been done to them even in recent years, we are missing an opportunity when we could help restore right understanding with the Jewish people. And also be aware that in the year 1299, Pope Innocent IV introduced the Spanish Inquisition, in which ultimately some 41,000 people, Jews and what we would call evangelical Christians, were burned alive at the stake. It was a horrible, horrible thing. And then if you study the history of Europe, the Jews were forbidden to own land. They were not allowed to be farmers. They were put out of certain vocations. They were driven from country to country. Their books were burned. Their synagogues were burned. And their people oftentimes were murdered with no defense. So Christianity has been historically to the Jews a monster of iniquity. And even in Hitler's day, in concentration camps, the cross was sometimes put on the wall, so that was the last thing Jews saw in their destruction. And then we Americans need to know that in 1939, when the Second World War was beginning in Europe, that a boatload of over 900 refugees from Europe, most of them Jews and Jewish children, came to America seeking help and seeking asylum, wanting to be rescued. And our government closed the door and sent that ship back to Europe, where all of them perished, either in concentration camps or other abuses of the war. It was in 1940, the beginning of the Second World War in Europe, that the nation of France froze over 80,000 Jewish bank accounts, where if they could have escaped France, found asylum in America, they had no money for tickets. And there were such atrocities that were brought against the Jewish people. But I want to share this important point, that the blessing of Abraham was spoken over Israel in the beginning and has never been lifted and never will be lifted. I'll give you a statistic. Jewish population today worldwide is probably less than 18 million people, or 0.02% of world population, 0.02%. And yet Jews have contributed and won about 127 Nobel Peace Prizes. Now, with that statistic in mind, just for comparison, let's look at Islam, which is 20% of world population, or a huge amount, over 20%. And they have contributed only 27 winners of the Nobel Peace Prize. I point that out because the weight is so in favor of Israel's contribution to humanity in medicine, in art, in all of the benefits of life. Why is it there? It's there because the blessing of Abraham is still on them. Now, we as Christians, especially evangelical Christians, are the ones who can speak in defense of Jewish people and our relationship with them and for them. It's true that in the Inquisition, that was a Catholic horrible time. We had nothing to do with that. But we can help restore and speak to the Jewish people our love for them. When I was pastor years ago, every year I had a salute to Israel, in which we invited the Jewish synagogues, the rabbis, and it was not an evangelistic event. It was simply an opportunity to tell the Jews, we love you, we want you, we need you. And I encourage pastors today, do that. Step out, be on the forefront. Let the Jewish population know that we want them, we need them, we appreciate them, and we love them. All right? That's it for the moment. Listen carefully, please, to what I say. God be with you. We'll talk again soon. Bye.